peeling out, taking flights. Life on the edge is the way that Yogi like. No fun if I can't do 100 through the light. Probably the only way that I can live and feel alive.
What's up, everyone? How you guys and gals doing? Welcome to the second part of the show. We got Danny D'Lo, the Word Man,
Was good.
Mike Ball, peg laid up in the house right now. Hopefully you guys and gals are having a good Friday morning and stuff like that. Hey, at least I'm upbeat, guys, man. I'm telling you, I've been watching Marco's show on K100 over there, and I'm like, I'm sleeping.
You falling asleep to it?
I'm freaking sleeping over here, man. It's like, what the hell happened?
That's some FCC stuff. That's some FCC stuff. He's not used to that coming over here.
Oh my goodness, man. No wonder he gets so worried about me on our show and stuff like that. I gotta, you know what? We gotta listen into a little bit of this. We got.
Oh boy, let's do this.
My wife will attest to this. I have. So my wife found out a year ago that she has celiac. So she can't have gluten. It makes her sick. She and my son.
It's like, damn.
Absolutely amazing. I wasn't able to be there for the official unveiling. Marco was.
What do you guys think of it?
What's on it?
It's got a cheddar, an avocado, and then cabbage.
You're talking about avocado.
It's so, yeah, so I can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
But also paired it up with this
I mean, I can see that it's a very professional setup. Like he's got.
Oh, here we go with Mike.
It's true, but the truth is nobody listens to that kind of stuff anymore. You know?
Oh,
what I mean?
hell no.
Let's be honest. On whatever live stream that was 2 viewers. There's a reason why that there's this separation of that FCC stuff to what we do.
Well, you know what? That's funny, man. Could you imagine all of us doing a show like BCAN on the terrestrial radio
and trying to be G-rated? Not even.
Well,
PG.
actually, if I remember correctly, I remembered some meetings where we talked about when we're going to do a BCAN podcast, no swearing, be cool. And I don't know what the fuck happened, but all of a sudden it just became an extension of the madhouse. So now it's like we might be on Spotify. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, we'll just see if we get canceled. Let's just test the waters. It's okay to experiment.
It's a learning curve.
It's okay.
Actually, Jason, Danny, and myself are going to be doing a video on this because none of us had a good deal at Woodstock. He goes, last time I was at Woodstock, Harley Davidson, a few years ago, them jagoffs, I would have got brined right there or beeped on his channel. Wouldn't even let me test ride a bike unless I was willing to put money down on it.
No. There's no way that they're saying that.
I find that hard to believe, but I'm not going to call you a liar, Jason.
I can't because Harley is become so those kind of people.
Shit, normally when I'm waiting for something, they give me a bike to go take a ride on.
Yeah, it's like it's like like, hey, if you want to go test ride this, go ahead, But not that I get
What's up,
treated
Road
the best
Rage?
when I walk in.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that. But no, Steve, we're not talking about his show on YouTube. But he's like a robot on K100, man, on his regular radio.
He's gay on YouTube too. Let's be honest. Putting on a bunch of snitches on his show and then not knowing why everybody's calling him, complaining. Fucking idiot.
But we're gonna go to. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this stuff. You know how bikers bring in a ton of money for towns?
Yes,
And they bring in millions of dollars. I'm talking millions of dollars when they come into town. But it's always funny. A cop has to be there to ruin it. And it made the news. I guess they were having a charity ride and the cops were all over everybody. You believe that? Let's go around the table. Start with Mike right there. That freaking cop has a stick up his ass. You got to turn the barricades around here, barricades around that. And all of a sudden they're talking about turning the town into a parking lot and stuff, and that's violence. And
No, see,
to them.
this kind of thing pisses me off. And to be honest, this is one thing that I mean, there's many things I disagree with BD on. And there was one thing I did specifically hear him say. He goes, yeah, if the best thing to do when you hire, and you do an event is hire your local police force. And I'm like, why would you do that? And this is a prime example right here as to why you would never want your police around while you're doing an event. I mean, they're going to be sitting there going, oh yeah, your cones need to be here. Your barricade needs to be here. You need to have guys here. No, fuck that. Honestly, dude, we're here. This is our event. We're bringing money to the town. You need to be a little bit more appreciative of what we do.
And I think a lot of businesses are, because if you look at Daytona, Sturgis, whatever, those vendors and those local businesses make their whole thing in a 2 weeks time for the whole year. Exactly. And if you start pissing people off, it's going to drive them away. What do you think, Danny?
I think what the organizers need to do is talk with the businesses and tell the businesses to stand up for them and make their voices heard. If the businesses don't, then fuck that whole town. Move over to the next town. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple, And any organization and any self-respected biker, period. If anybody says, well, we should have the police involved, shut up. Well, what is it with these guys that all are supposedly in MCs and one percenters and organizations and all this shit? The best thing to do is to have the police there just in case. We are the police, man. We've always policed ourselves. We regulate our own. Don't get me wrong. I'll call ahead to that town to say, hey, listen, we're organizing an event. We're coming through your town. We're going to be there for the day. Blah, 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 blah. This is what it's for. That's one thing. But to try to hire police to come police our guys, our girls, come on, man.
Well, I totally agree with that, with what he's saying, Mike, because they usually become the buzzkill there. But that is a very interesting subject he brought up is, a lot of us that started earlier in the decades are kind of like shaking our heads to why bikers are actually on their knees giving a freaking blowjob to some of these freaking cops. Wow. It just blows my mind. And I have to wonder if that is more of a Generation Z or a millennial type of way of thinking, because it used to be where Generation X never thought that way. And it seems like everything's becoming watered down within the scene, and it's just sometimes no fun anymore.
Well, that's already been proven wrong. Exactly what Mike Ball just said about a certain creator.
I was just about to
was
say
all about that. The brother's 60 years old. That's not Gen Z. That's not a millennial.
And for me, I have never involved police in any sort of situation. You know what I mean? I have been grown up. I'm here on the West Coast in Southern California. I grew up differently. I'm not saying that everybody needs to run by that code or whatever, but this is the way I live my life.
Well, let's go more into that subject of how can I say this without getting stupid?
It's gonna be rough. It's a madhouse.
What? You're going PG on us now, Hollywood? We're on the motherfucking morning show, baby.
There you go. Okay, let's just put it out there where you got certain creators that push the cops in the biker scene. I seen that with Big Cell. He talked about that, and that kind of blew everybody's heads off. And then you got BD that says, hey, we have to work with the cops. And I don't, what? Personally, where I come from, I will never do that. I can't even stand looking at them. But what does that say? Is it the different sets that think that way? Is it
No,
white set, black set, mixed race set that thinks that way?
I have a very good clue as to probably why that is all what happened. Is first of all, one of them is a big actual motorcycle, meet where it's like an entire town takeover. It's not like like our motorcycle events, where our club events and stuff. These are independent riders. These are people. That's a whole different situation, in my opinion, where he has to get the city involved. Somebody has to. They have to go to the whoever the top officials.
Yeah, but actually coming out and say, and you start anything, I'm going to have the cops arrest you.
Right. Now when that was said,
well, you gotta look at where Big Cell is coming from, though. I mean, let's just keep it 100. And Big Cell is doing a huge event, and he stands to make probably $500,000-$600,000 out of that event. Okay, that's a huge event. You have to have a police presence there. All right, it's just the way it is.
Police presence, but do you say to one percenters specifically?
No, you don't do shit like that. But we all know Big Cell. He gonna say what he gonna say, and he don't give a damn.
Yeah, I don't think he really thinks of the.
I don't think that he meant it the way most of us perceived it. You know what I mean? But then again, he was letting it be known, like, hey, you are not coming to my event, and you're not going to come there to jag my money off. It's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
and let's be honest, it ain't no different than whack ass Sturgis and whack ass Daytona.
No, that was just some business.
You know what I'm saying?
That's business.
I mean, come on, man. Everybody goes to these bullshit ass events. I can't stand them personally, man, because you go there and you get fucked with by the police the whole time you're there.
Why I don't go.
And if you're in a club, it's so pointless to go. Everywhere you go, you're being followed. Everywhere you go, you're getting a ticket for ape hangers, for loud music, for revving your pipe. My brother last year got a ticket for using his flamethrowers on his bike, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, it used to be where everybody showed out that night, that weekend, to show what they did to their bikes and do some cool shit. And now you can't do nothing. I mean, basically it boils down to, if it's fun, the police are against it now.
Yeah,
the last
time.
So I really think it just depends on the situation. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off,
the last time I attended one of those
Mike
big events.
stepping on over everybody again.
No, I apologize. I thought you were done.
I kind of stepped on him. I'm sorry.
No, but I was just last time I attended one of those big events, I got pulled over because I was in a vest, and of course I get pulled over, and they literally ticketed me for my visor. The wind visor on a Dyna, it's supposed to be clear to them. Well, mine is see-through black. You know what I mean? And I can see over it, but they gave me a ticket. They scanned it and saw that it was too tinted, and they took and they were starting to repo other people's bikes from the club for stuff like that. I couldn't believe it. And so I'm like, dude, for me. Forget me, miss me with all that crap. Now, see, this is what we were talking about with like the other content creator of throwing their own MC event, like, hey, at our clubhouse or at this event or whatever. And we're going to hold it down with an actual event where a couple of vendors are there and people are making some food. Hiring some cops for that is ridiculous. That to me is so mind blowing. That I can't fuck with somebody that is going to do that.
I've never even heard of something like that.
I won't attend your event. I won't attend your event.
Danny, what the hell happened to the old days of going in the woods, getting stupid, and partying all weekend? Now everybody wants to go to these types of rallies, and I just don't get it. I
don't either. I don't get, you know what it is, man? It's everybody wants that attention, man. We live in such an attention society in the MC world. You know, prime example is TikTok, dude. You go on TikTok and you see all these fucking yahoos parading their colors, or they got their colors in like their own little personal shadow box, which I personally think is the gayest shit you could ever do. Just to just to show everybody, look, I'm in a club, you know, behind their head, and it's like, come on, man, grow up, dude. Don't Nobody cares what club you're in, man. You know, it's the society that we're in, man. Back in the day, no, we didn't want to be seen. We didn't want anybody to know who we were until it was time to know. So
Right.
that's why we went out to the woods and drank and partied and messed with women and had a good old time. And nobody got out of pocket. Nobody was disrespectful. And if they were, we'd beat them down and give them some act right real quick and party on, you know,
Mhm.
or
Facts.
send them on their bike. Hey, man, take your old lady with her big ass mouth and get the fuck lost. Get out of here. And they left, you know. I mean, it was plain and simple. Now, you know, everybody wants to go to these events and show out and, you know, and turn their music up real loud and, you know, do burnouts and all this dumb shit. You know, look at me, man. So, I mean, you know, it's kind of our own faults too, you know. If you scream, look at me, guess what's going to happen? The police are going to look at you.
Everyone's looking.
Well, you know what,
including-
Mike, Danny has a good point there. And you know what? I actually get beefed on for this one, where I think the club before that I was in, we were always, and Danny knows who the guy is. If
Wow.
you showed anything on the internet, you got your eye dotted.
Shit,
And
it's still like that to this day with him.
I think it was a better time period because, like he said, TikTok, I can't believe how much of a cesspool is over there. I just really can't. But you do got guys parading their shit all over the place, and
Yeah.
that's
Well,
not the way it was supposed to be. Yeah, sure, the cops are going to know who the hell you are just because they, walk up and down and take license plates numbers and shit at a party. But you still don't want to give them a damn easy road where they just kick up their feet on a desk and be able to validate you.
exactly.
What
Exactly.
the hell is going on out there where people, if they're doing this content stuff, have to parade around in their colors and talk shit about everybody else?
The problem
It's
is that they are using their platforms and wearing their colors, and that what they're mistaking is they're using their opinions while they're in their colors. Okay, it's one thing when you are just riding your motorcycle and it's showing the street and you got a 360 camera and it spins around, it shows you and then it spins back around and whatever. To me, that's okay, but people don't know how to use social media correctly, in my opinion. Like, you have to be responsible if you're going to. Now, I'm one of the guys, I got to admit, that I threw my colors out there on the internet, but I did that differently.
You weren't going after other clubs, though.
Right. And see, that was the whole thing is I knew how to hold my own, not only out on the set, but I look at the internet the same way. So that's the way I treated it. So it's not like I would wear colors and then talk about my opinions on certain subjects. Like, if I was sitting here in my colors right now and talking the Madhouse about how I feel, I'm representing something else, something so much bigger than myself.
You're representing your club at that time.
So why would you do that? And that's why, to me, you're right, Danny. It's a nonstop look at me, look at me, look at me. Like, I need attention. It's sad.
Well, one thing that I'm going to do next week, Danny, is I'm going to put out probably an angry video, because actually I'm getting tired of that kind of shit where people want to send in pictures of this guy or that guy, talk shit about this one. I ain't the National fucking Enquirer, and it's really making everybody look bad now. And I've actually asked other content creators, don't put these motherfuckers on anymore, because it's entertainment and stuff like that, but it's making us all look stupid. Let TikTok do that for us, because it seems like TikTok is the dumb shit.
Right? No, I agree. I just want to say real quick, I see Steve Easy over there being kind of like a closet hater, it seems like, this morning. Bro, you have a hammer on the wall. Are you about to bust out some carpentry on the show? Or are you just trying to show everybody you're hardcore? Actually, that was a gift from one of my fans that watch me that does some really cool shit. That's why it's on my wall and not in my bike or, stuffed in my seat because I'm, mean as fuck. You know what I'm saying? So,
But like,
somebody made it for you.
but like,
yeah.
but like Chase just said, is it all become about showboating?
Oh, hell yeah, it has, Chase. Hell yeah, it has. That's what it's all about, man. I mean, here's the thing. We've all seen the guys that hate on me on TikTok, right? These are all guys that
God, you got a lot.
Hell
I
yeah.
know.
Well, TikTok is just another level of that.
But
hate.
if you watch a lot of these guys, they all parade their colors all over TikTok to let everybody know that they're real. And I've always said the reason why they hate me is because everybody knows how real I am, and I've never once had to tell anybody what former club I'm in or was in. I've never had to show colors of when I was in a club or nothing. Never had to. And I'm living proof that real always recognizes real. These guys are not real, so they think by putting their colors on and going, "Look at me, man, I'm mean as fuck. Look at my colors, brother." That makes them real. That people, okay, all right, I'll listen to him. He's real. And unfortunately, the biggest problem is the viewers, and
Yep.
that's here on YouTube and TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. People view that shit because they're like, oh yeah, that's cool, that's real. And then they'll bounce back to another guy, and then they try to start some drama, and it's absolutely showboating, man. Absolutely.
One thing that surprised the shit out of me, Mike, one of these guys showed all the clubs he was in. I think there was like fucking 5 of them.
Whoa.
And
Yeah, that's I won't
you
say his
serious?
name, but yeah, he's cute.
Oh
I was
no.
like, Jesus
That's where I
Christ.
get my mean as fuck little comment from, because I think the guy's hilarious. He's been in, well, 1, 2, 3 big 1% clubs for a very short time, and then he started his own little wannabe 1% club, and he used to hang out with some guys in Tennessee that me and Hollywood happen to know personally. And now he's in some, I don't know, I think he made up a new club or some shit. And it's so ridiculous. It's like, and that's the thing I'm getting at too, is the viewers. If you see somebody posting pictures that they've been in 5 different clubs,
There's
why
an
the
issue.
fuck are you even watching this
There's an
clown?
issue.
Why are you promoting this clown? Why are you watching this clown? Why would you even give that clown any time of fucking day? Why would
Haven't
you
we?
listen to the bullshit that he's even saying? And that goes for anybody. It ain't a particular diss. It's for anybody. Anybody that's been in 5 fucking clubs, obviously it's not the club's fault. It's their fault. They're a
Well,
piece of shit. Or they don't
let,
know this life. One or the other.
let me stop you there, Danny. Mike, isn't it the club's fault that this is happening with 5 different clubs? Because it used to be, even if you were enemies, you would say, hey, you would verify this one guy. And
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's a very valid point. Very
that
valid
this is
point.
happening.
Yeah.
Are
I mean,
clubs that hard up that they have to
yes.
take trash from others?
Yes. Plain and simple. I think at this point,
I'm going to ask you that, and I'm going to ask Danny that.
let's be real. I'm going to be just facts here again, because it was recent news. Jersey's living proof of that. You know what I mean? He pulled a fast one, and he was able to manipulate a club into thinking a certain way, because people use their mouthpieces and they're good with them. You know what I
Go
mean?
ahead, I'm sorry.
Am I right?
No.
You don't think I'm right? You don't think that these people manipulate situations all the time?
Well, no, I'm saying you're definitely right on that, brother.
Okay, so what I'm but he is
You're
but what
not right on the
Hollywood's
Jersey situation though. He didn't manipulate a club. A club tried to pull a fast move and they got caught up in it. Let's
okay,
keep it
well
real.
maybe it was vice versa. Okay, that's valid.
Right.
But what I'm saying also is it's very factual what Hollywood's saying. You know what I mean? It's just it's a bummer that the club does need to do their due diligence and look and go, all right, and call and make some phone calls. You know, that's what I would think would happen is like, hey, let's validate this dude. And people don't I think maybe clubs are a little hard up.
Go ahead, Danny. You're laughing.
I was just laughing at Chase.
Chase is always fun, man. He's
Chase
funny
is
as
definitely
hell.
Chase is definitely like me. It's like, yeah, that guy might be an asshole, but he's my asshole. You talking about him, bro?
You talking about my man?
You talking about my dude? I'm not gonna go into the Jersey thing because that's
let's put him aside, but let's put it in general
right
with other people.
You know what? You're absolutely right, Hollywood, and I guess I didn't even think about that. And that's a valid point, what you said. It definitely is the club's fault when you really think about it, because back in the day, I mean, not even that long ago. Let's keep it real, man. It wasn't that long ago. If you were thrown out bad from a club, even your arch enemy wouldn't take them.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If you were, I hate putting names out there, but let's say you're an outlaw, you get thrown out bad, the Hells Angels wouldn't even take you.
Right.
Well, they actually had an agreement.
You know what I'm saying? And
even if you were out good, they wouldn't take you.
right. But, all that aside, man, that's how it used to be. And it wasn't about respecting that club. It was about respecting our culture.
The code.
And
If you were out bad, you were blackballed. That's it. You don't get to come out and play no more. Sell your Harley Davidson, sell your bike, go buy a boat, and go sink out in the lake somewhere. We don't care about you no more. You don't belong at bike night. We don't even want to see you at the Harley dealer. You know what I'm saying? But now you get thrown out on bad from one club, and you literally can walk across the street and go join the other one. And half the time nowadays, if it's in the 1% world, even unfortunately, because you come from a 1% club and they know that you come from there, you may not even have to prospect. And if you do, it'll be 30 days in a wake up. I mean, it's crazy shit, man. So, I mean, it's all going to hell in a handbasket, and it's all of our faults. It really, truly is.
Mike.
Well, if you look at from the flip side, though, dang, man, it's hard. This whole it's very complicated because the thrown out bad used to be
it was a very
things. It was 4 or 5 solid things, and
it
nowadays
actually exactly, and that's if you screwed around with somebody's life, you were stealing from the club, or you're shooting up.
Right.
And now it's if you piss in the wind wrong.
But see, that's
now it's if you don't pay your dues, if you don't make it to update. I mean, it's all kinds of shit.
See, that's the flip side, Danny, is if we would have just stuck with those 3 things and just stayed loyal to that code, then maybe it wouldn't be so acceptable where people are going, well, yeah, I got thrown out bad because I didn't pay my dues, for instance. And the other club is gone, well, dude, that's not some true brotherhood. Let me show you some true brotherhood. You know what I mean? So think of it that way too, because everyone's getting thrown out bad for some bullshit. And I'm not saying everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of
everyone is.
A lot of people get thrown out bad, and so you got to think of it that way too.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to something that Mike Ball said, I believe yesterday about like bylaws and stuff and prospecting codes and all that should be changed up a little bit. This is exactly why we have this shit going on right now, is because things were changed up. You know what I'm saying? Here's the way I look at it. I don't care if there's a new generation coming into this culture. nothing should be changed. If you want to change this culture, then don't fucking come try being a part of it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like people think we should change the amendments and all that. If you don't like them, get out of here. Leave.
Yep.
They're set in motion for a reason. And with the MC culture, these protocols and all this stuff was set in motion for a legitimate reason. And people looking past these bylaws is the reason why we have what we have now. A bunch of clowns parading their colors around, a bunch of yahoos that go out bad from 15 different clubs and then start their own in their backyard. And, you know, I mean, come on, man. Regulate this shit.
Well,
you know,
they-
and that's what it was used to be about. We would regulate our shit.
Yeah, it used to be our generation that did that and the ones before us.
Mm-hmm.
But Generation Z and millennials, Mike, which, you know, you're in, have tried to get, you know, they get the boats and they push out the old timers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next
And
thing
they
you know,
divide the club.
no.
That's
So-
exactly what's happened. That's exactly what's happened.
My generation of thinking, as I said yesterday, is, you know, we know what's best, you know, and we come in with this mentality of like, okay, we don't agree with these things. And because we don't agree with them, we're going to band together to change that. Well, hold on. Why are you coming into something where we follow tradition, code, honor, all of this stuff, but you want to change everything? Again, we need to prospect our people better. You're not going to know someone after 30, 60 days. You know what I mean? You need to actually experience time with these people and see what they're about. You know, I'm an amputee. If I'm walking quicker than you and I'm in a serious problem and I'm walking ahead of everybody, there's a problem. You know what I mean? Why am I moving quicker than you?
That's because you're the $6 million man.
And, but I'm just saying.
You know what? One of the biggest problems I think, and I've noticed it over the years, is a lot of these clubs want to go nationwide real quick or worldwide quick, get all these type of people in there. But what happened to actually knowing who your brothers were? I think when a club gets so big, it's really not a brotherhood at that point. It's, you know, if it was brotherhood, you know everybody. And
remember the saying we had back in the day, Hollywood? There's brothers and there's cousins.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's exactly what you're talking about.
You know, I think the personalization of clubs is gone. I really do. Unless you're in a really good club where you get to meet everybody and you got to sit there and talk to everybody. With these huge clubs, you can't do that. You can't get. That's why they got what's called the name game, man. You know, you got, as your probate, you have to remember 1,000 different damn names. And when the national's over, you probably never see them any damn way.
Yep. I remember getting tested. You know what I mean? Like you shake like all these people's hands, and then I would have my OG come up to me and be like, "All right, what's that guy's name again?"
Right.
And it's like,
to me, if you're in a big national club, the only thing you should be worried about is your region.
Your own region.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your own region, and that's it.
Yes.
At national parties, okay, cool. We're all brothers and we're colored, but the only thing that should matter is your region. Because here's the thing, man, and I've told this to 1,000 people in my lifetime. If you go into a fight and you have 50 motherfuckers with you, you're going to feel pretty tough. But when you walk in there and the only people that were fighting were three of you, you only went in there with 3 people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if you've got 1,000 people in your club. If only 30 of them are willing to go down for whatever, you only got 30 people in your club. The rest are just people that ride with it.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
let's go to the big question. We'll start off with Mike. The biggest problem with Generation Z and millennials. What is your thoughts on the biggest problem with that generation?
The biggest problem is just the ideology of change, that we feel so entitled that we can just go ahead and change, for instance, what we were just talking about, a tradition. You know what I mean? That's been set in stone for 100 years, 100 plus years. Why are we trying to change something, like reinvent the wheel? I don't get that. Like, see, I know that I am different from my own generation, but I can
Yeah, you
speak
gotta
on
stick up your ass.
I got to speak for my generation though. It's true though that their ideology is like, okay, we're going to divide and conquer. We'll take this half and we can just take over the club, or we can take over and get out these guys that have got these bad ideology or old school mentality. Let's just get them out of the way so we can run our shit the way we want. And to me, that's bullshit. You should allow to have.
What do you think, Danny? We're seeing a lot of strife in this country, and a lot of it's coming from Generation Z and millennials. Actually, it's the millennials now having the kids and stuff like that, which makes them Generation Z at that point. What did our Generation X, do? And I believe it's our fault that these kids are the way they are, because we didn't whoop their ass.
That's exactly why we allowed the government to come into our lives and tell us how to raise our kids. We can't kick their ass like we used to. A good swat in the mouth, let me tell you something, that gets everybody's attention, for one. And number two, it tells everybody not to do whatever it was they did again. But we can't do that no more. We can punish them, but what's that? Oh, go sit in your room. Go. I'm going to take your phone away, your iPod away, or your games away. Fuck that.
Right.
Smack your kid upside the head. Let him know that he messed up. That's where we came from. So that's what happened. We allowed the government to tell us how to raise our kids.
Yep.
And now we can't discipline these kids the way they rightfully deserve. These kids need a fucking ass whooping. Fuck a swat up the head. These new kids, man, I'd like to kick one of these little motherfuckers across the street. They're ignorant as shit, man. Just rude as fuck. Don't care about nobody but themselves. They don't even care about their parents anymore, man. They're so non-compassionate towards anything but themselves. It's sad. But we created that, and we allowed the government to create that.
Well, let's talk about morality, Mike. The LA Dodgers, okay? See, I'm a big baseball fan, go Cubbies. But at the same time, with this pride stuff, they are actually honoring a group that dresses like a bunch of clowns in nun outfits and makes fun of the Catholic Church. Now, I don't care if you're religious or not. That ain't morally correct right there. No, is to honor something. And that's what I never understood. Not even 0.5% of the population is trans or gay. So why are you pushing that on the rest of us? But for the LA Dodgers to do that is unreal.
Yeah, this is typical. What company isn't going radical at this point? Look at this whole Budweiser thing or Bud Light going back and forth from some, tranny swinging over to Harley Davidson, and it wasn't what they're trying to do is trying to change the market. Like, we went from radical left to now, hey, we're American. It wasn't Harley Davidson going, hey, let's hop on the woke train. I really think it was Bud Light going over to them going, hey, let's show that we're still American. These companies are just known to do this. Like this.
And here's what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's on screen right now.
Yeah, see, it's disrespect. It's insane that this is allowed and that the Dodgers would co-sign any of this. But again,
well,
this is LA.
Those Dodgers re-invite drag nuns, I guess that's a thing now, to Pride Night after cutting them out. And the baseball team apologizes to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence after removing group from amid the controversial. And the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you're in that area, Mike.
Yes, I am.
Announced that the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, a well-known San Francisco order of queer and
Mhm.
trans nuns has existed since the 70s and are once again welcome at the Pride Night. And my question is, what parent would allow their kids to see some shit like that?
You know, personally, my parents wouldn't ever, but these kids nowadays are
No, no,
just
no.
so
Your
exposed to
parents,
it
whatever. Now, what does that mean?
in the sense of what?
Would they allow you to go to something like that?
Absolutely not. No. No, and this is the exact reason why I pulled my child out of private school and put her in charter, because these public schools are I mean, like, for instance, like even the ass beating stuff. These kids are taught in school that, hey, if your parent touches you, you let us know, or you let CPS know, you call the police, do this. They tell you to do these things when it's like, hey,
Yeah,
listen,
you're teaching all these kids to be
they're
snitches.
brainwashing these kids. You know what I mean? And to me, that's unfair. And when it comes to this Dodger stuff, dude, it does not surprise me. It's LA. What do you expect? LA, San Francisco, all the biggest blue areas where they're just trying to please a crowd. The point, they're not just going for the 0.5% of the population of trans and queers. That they don't care about that. They honestly
I had no
don't.
idea
They're
that
going
the
after
word
the
queer is okay to say now.
They are used. Well, it's in the article.
I thought that
It's
was
in the
like a
article.
negative thing to say towards them.
It's in the article. You know what I mean? But,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
so they are not going after that demographic of 0.5% of those trans people. They are going for the voters that think that way, and they're going for those liberals that think that way in that area. And that's what people like.
So what's that say about LA and San Francisco? It's like you guys got no fucking morals out there.
Right.
They're all gay.
They just don't. They have a different level of radical thinking.
Now, let me ask you guys this. We'll start with Danny. Do you believe somebody who is trans and is trying to breastfeed a baby is child abuse?
I think it's all fucking stupid. I can't believe that's even a question. I can't believe that anybody would even think that it's okay. I think it's the dumbest shit ever, where we started giving all of these fucking social experiments of humans this platform of where they think they matter. They fucking don't to society. They truly don't. I'm sorry, man. If you want to be gay, by all means, please be gay. I support you 110%. I don't care. It doesn't bother me one bit. If you want to be trans, fucking be trans. I don't care. But when you start trying to push this shit on our children, on all of us, like it actually fucking matters, fucking go die slow. That's what I have to say.
Cheers.
What do you think of that, Mike?
That was 100% accurate. Everything he just said. Yep, should be drug out to the street and shot. You know, people are radical. People are extremely radical that they think that this type of behavior is just okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's unacceptable.
Well, let me show you right here what I was talking about, because Danny is in disbelief, but there you go.
Yeah, no, see.
Oh, I'm not in disbelief. I know that there's people that really think this is okay.
This right here is abuse. Okay, this is abuse, and this is probably one of the only times I believe that CPS needs to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
There are reasons why CPS is around. There are abusive, fucked up situations, and that is one of them, right there.
And these people are raising kids, so it's going to be more freaking idiots in their lives that are programmed to think this stupid shit. Mm-hmm. And imagine what these kids have to go through growing up, because believe it or not, there's still normal people out here. Mm-hmm. So imagine how much abuse these kids are going to get mentally and physically growing up, having these idiots as parents. Like, well, it's
going to keep the cycle going where you have these kind of parents, the kids are going to start turning out like that. And I don't understand why society thinks this is right.
It's not, man. And you know what? I don't think society does. The media is trying to make everybody think that this is what society thinks. Just like the black versus white, man. The social media and our media in general has been trying to push this narrative that, oh, blacks hate white people hate black people. Case in point, I'll tell you guys a quick story. A couple of years ago, when they were rioting in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and it was, the racial tension was very high at that point. A lot of people were upset on both sides. There were some crazy things going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin, a lot of rioting, horrible shit. Well, me and a brother of mine, we jump on our bikes one night and we're out for a cruise, and we're cruising down Highway 50. We get into Kenosha and I'm like, hey, man, let's go down to the lake, you know? And he's like, yeah, all right, cool. And he's like, hey, did you bring a thing with you? And I'm like, no, did you? And he's like, no, man, maybe we shouldn't go. And I'm like, why? And he goes, well, all that rioting shit going on that kind of just started to fade out. There was a lot of racial tension because of it. And I'm like, you know what, man, I ain't never worried about that shit. Let's just go. And we went. And the whole time I'm riding, as we get into town, I'm kind of thinking, this might be a bad idea. You're going to have black people walking up to white people trying to talk shit, vice versa. This could be bad. We pull up to the lake. I'm sitting down at the lake and we're just chilling. And there's a couple of black dudes fishing. They're cool as hell. They come over, start talking with us. I end up hanging out with this one dude. I forget his name though. Breeze was his name. Shout out to Breeze, wherever you at, my brother. We sat there and watched the sunrise together, talking about life, man. Talking about black and white, talking about how media is trying to make us all believe that we hate each other. And here we are sitting here on a rock, watching the sun go up, talking like men. Like, that's what media wants. Media wants us to believe that this is what society thinks. No, we don't. We don't give a flying fuck about a trans. We don't give a flying fuck about any alphabet person. They're the ones making the big deal. We don't care. Just don't push it on us.
Right. And you know what? He is right about the media pushing stuff. A lot of the media is owned out of New York and LA, and especially those in the movie industry. And the movie industry, they have a lot of that going on. I especially feel for the child actors and stuff. A lot of them were sexually abused just to get into movies and stuff like that.
Terrible.
But what's that saying about America, Mike, where these are the type of people that are running the medias and pushing this line that we have to be all inclusive and all accepting?
Haven't they always said divide and conquer? They're going to use women against men. They're going to use one club versus another. They're going to use Republican versus Democrat. They're going to use anything they can to divide us, because that's where they keep the power, and these ideologies that are pushed on the rest of us, meaning through meaning media, mainstream media, and even social media, down to that, there is a lot of that kind of ideology pushed on the rest of us when we don't care. Just like Danny said, we do not care. Like there are personal situations I may not agree with, that, hey, he may be brown, he may be black, but that's a personal thing I may have with them, but I don't have a personal thing against anybody ever. That's the whole thing. But the media would love to tell you that me as a white guy, I hate automatically this people or these people, because they divide and conquer. That is the key to their success.
But most of the time, that's coming from Generation Z and millennials. You don't really see that from Generation X. What would it see? Mike wasn't even a sperm yet in the 80s. What do you think would happen in the 1980s if we seen some stuff like that?
It would have never happened. It would have never happened. because we didn't have the media outlets that we have now. And that's what's created most of the division and bullshit, because everybody truly thinks they have a platform to speak on. And they do. That's the sad part. They do. You know, if you feel that, hey, listen, I'm a transsexual and I want to breastfeed my baby. I can't believe I just fucking even said that.
I know, me neither.
But let's say, okay, that's what I want to do. I can go on Instagram, I can go on whatever show and speak about that. And it's just okay. It's just okay. That shit wasn't okay in the 80s. We didn't promote it, we didn't allow it. You know, I mean, I'm not saying things were better in the 80s for the gay community. They probably weren't. But it certainly wouldn't have flown. It wouldn't have.
Right. Well, you know, that's why we had the term closet back then, because you kept it behind closed doors and you really didn't push it on to everybody else. Why, Mike, is your generation so accepting of this kind of shit?
Because they're gay.
I really like I said, the ideologies are just so different. I think they look at your guys' generation and almost have this disdain for you guys. You know, it's very odd. Like, your ideologies are so dated and you guys are so suppressive. And
well, let's be honest, your generation can't even define what a woman is.
You're right.
And
You're right. And I'm not saying that my generation is correct in any of this, because it's not. You know, my generation is definitely not in the right in any of that.
We are the old guys now.
My views are a little different. I look at box than so.
Michael froze right there.
There we go. Sorry.
There we go.
But yeah, no, the ideology again is just, I don't know. No one wants to conform. No one knows how to be a soldier anymore. Everyone wants to be the chief. Everyone wants to be the head honcho. Everyone wants to make the big calls. And yeah, that's the problem, is no one knows how to fall in line anymore. You know, when an OG speaks, no one knows how to show that respect anymore. And at least from what I've seen in my generation, like, I shut up and listen when an OG speaks. But I see these other cats that are my age, and they'll just continue on talking amongst themselves. It's like, dude, you're wasting your time right now.
Well, I know that's a good way to say it, because you're sidestepping the real question here is, why can't your generation define what a woman is? Last time I knew, they had a vagina.
Okay.
And they give birth.
When you come down to genders and all that crap, and like the 199 different versions of genders, and why I could not even begin to explain to you why those people think that it's acceptable and why they came up with that. I don't know. I couldn't answer that, because I only believe in two genders. It's
how was your schooling? Because you were in that period of schooling. Was your teachers truly what conservatives say, brainwashers?
A little bit. What was cool about me is I was able to learn how to debate correctly in government within high school. So I was able to flip-flop sides. For instance, you're not a true debater unless you can debate the other side. So I learned how to do that. For instance, if I'm a conservative, I would learn how to debate as a liberal, and they would flip-flop me going back to a conservative. So I actually had a really, really cool teacher in my time, but he was an old school cat, dude. Like, this guy had maybe a year left in him, you know? So who knows how it is now? You know, I can only imagine it's terrible. I can only imagine.
Man, one thing I know that it is getting messed up in this country really bad. If we don't get it straightened out, we'll probably have Chinese ruling us pretty soon, because they're gonna laugh at us saying, "Oh, Tinkerbells." Just
in Mandarin, they're going to be saying, we're all going to be saying it in Mandarin.
Right. We're going to go over the members only right now. In about 10 minutes, we're going to take a little break here. If you're not a member of the members only club, you can join over on YouTube, Spotify, and over there on our locals community chat group. Check it out over there. We'll be right back. We thank Danny and Mike for being on the Madhouse covering for China Doll this week. You guys rock. We'll be right back. Join the Insane Throttle Members Only Club on YouTube or Spotify and receive exclusive content Monday through Friday at 9:20 a.m. Central Standard Time. Your membership in the Throttle Club helps keep the show going strong. Introducing the all-new service from Insane Throttle Motorcycle Madhouse Radio. 24/7 and nothing but the best in 80s till today rock and metal, baby. And here's an added bonus. You can now listen to Motorcycle Madhouse Morning Show with Hollywood and China Doll live on the air. Go to motorcyclemadhouse.com and bookmark the radio station and get down with the king of biker radio.
I say goodbye, vamoose, adios, ciao, so long, get your hat jack.
#1 internet biker radio show is now available on Spotify and all major platforms, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, and more. Don't forget to become a subscriber on any one of